Where do we begin? This week alone has been such a whirlwind, right? From the investigation into the attempted assassination of President Trump. I still can't believe we witnessed history. I was sitting in this very chair a week ago talking about it, to the incredible Republican National Convention, right? We saw such an incredible outpouring of unity, to now Joe Biden possibly stepping down. There were calls that he could do it even today. This just a week after almost losing his life, President Trump, a bullet tearing through his ear, a quarter inch away from his skull. Look at him right there. He held a huge rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan last night to a packed crowd of at least 12,000 people were waiting in line since the night before. Trump's resolve as strong as ever. The only indication that something ever happened to him, a small Band-Aid on his right ear. Take a listen.
They keep saying, he's a threat to democracy. I'm saying, what the hell did I do for democracy? Last week, I took a bullet for democracy.
A bullet for democracy. Now, that's a slogan. He's really good at those. While President Trump continues to fight for our nation, fight for everyone's future, just 1 week after being shot, Joe Biden is once again hiding in his basement with a cold.
We're watching live pictures of President Biden right now. He's boarding Air Force One. I'm told these are live pictures. This is a bit odd because he has tested positive for COVID, but he is not wearing a mask.
I think him not wearing a mask is the least of his concerns. Joe has COVID. Again, a mild case, despite God only knows how many boosters. I mean, but look at him climbing up those stairs. He looks frailer than ever. And as Joe fights his cold, his handlers, they continue to fight to keep Joe in the race. Axios now reporting Joe, though, he is not going anywhere. But that's not stopping the chatter. Multiple sources reporting that top Democrats, from Pelosi to Schumer to Obama, are telling Joe he simply cannot win. Joe Manchin also saying Biden's got to pass the torch. But Biden's campaign continues to call all of those news reports fake news.
It's been consistently wrong. The president has said that he is running, and it's the end of story. And so he was just out here in Nevada talking to the NAACP.
President Biden has made his decision. He is the Democratic nominee. I said before, I don't know how many times we can answer this question. I don't know how many times President Biden can answer this question. He will be the Democratic nominee, and we will beat Donald Trump in November.
You notice right there, you're not seeing a single report of Democrats saying that Biden's weakness on the world stage is putting our lives in danger, or that he should not only bow out of the race, but consider stepping down altogether. Nope. All the reports are the same. Democrats know Joe can't win, and that's why they no longer want to pull his puppet strings. Don't you all see? It's always been about winning for Democrats, always been about power and holding on to it at all costs. These Democrats, despite what they say outwardly, they don't believe in God. They think they're gods. And the only deity they worship is the almighty dollar. That's why they continue to mock Trump when he mentions the only power that truly matters.
What a day it was. As I said earlier this week, I stand before you only by the grace of Almighty God. That's true. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Maybe JD or somebody else would be here, but I shouldn't be here right now. But something very special happened.
Indeed it did. I mean, how is it not God? Look at this 3D animation. How else do you explain that it was only millimeters between life and death for Trump that fateful day? And how Trump used what could have been his last breath on earth. He didn't know if more snipers were out there or not, to give us all a message. If we have that video right there where he goes, fight, fight, fight. You remember that? It's so iconic. It's unbelievable. That's so instinctual. Yet Democrats, look at this moment. You'll see it right there. He didn't know if there was other snipers. They were going to go in for the kill shot. And look at him. He wants to deliver a message, pumping his fist up in the air, fight, fight, fight. This is a guy who said to himself, you know what? If I'm going to go out, I am going to make sure I am letting America know that I am going to fight and fight until the end. Yet the left, they continue to demonize Trump for saying that God saved his life. Don't believe me? Take a listen to this despicable comment by Joy Behar of The View.
I'm speaking to fellow Christians. I was raised Catholic. I'm a Christian girl. When something like this happens to you, like this assassination attempt, and you say something like God was watching me, that is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic.
Just when you think they can't go any lower, they just, And rather than laud Trump's courage, the left will continue to weaponize his and his running mates, J.D. Vance's, belief in God. And, of course, their belief in this great country by using the term white nationalism.
But I do think there were some sort of Easter eggs of white nationalism in the speech.
So what that MSNBC host is referring to is when J.D. Vance said during his acceptance speech at the RNC that he wanted him and his family to be buried in Kentucky. And that is what she said. Take a listen more to what she said.
And I just think the construction of this notion reveals a lot about someone who fundamentally believes in the supremacy of whiteness and masculinity. And it's couched in a sort of halcyon, revisitation of his roots, but it is actually really revealing about what he thinks matters and who America is.
Unbelievable. It's already starting, folks. She might as well have said, I bet JD's got a KKK cloak in his closet. Don't you see the left is already making this race about race because they've got nothing else? They did it during BLM. They love to stoke the chaos. They also did it with COVID because they want to confuse the people. It's all a power play. We've seen this playbook multiple times. The left's rhetoric of white men this, white Christian that will only intensify in the coming weeks. Watch. They will beat that drum. The white Christian man not only wants to keep you down, he wants to control your bodies too. Don't believe me? Here's a campaign ad from the Biden administration just released.
J.D. Vance has extreme views, and he's not hiding it. He's supported banning abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest.
I certainly would like abortion to be legal nationally.
It doesn't matter how many times Trump has said he will not institute a national abortion ban. The scare tactics will continue, and we've seen in the past that they work because what's sad and scary, right? There are voters out there whose common sensibilities are overridden by their irrational emotions. And you know what voters I'm talking about. I'm talking about women. I can say this because I am one and because it's true. And it's why the perfect weapon the left will wield will be the one, and thankfully the only, Kamala Harris, a woman of color with no children. The equity agenda and Democrat Party is what allowed Kamala Harris, the privileged child of two parents with PhDs, to, of course, stay privileged. And now she's one of the most powerful people in the world, despite having achieved really nothing in her entire career. It's why the Biden regime picked Kamala as VP, knowing this day could come, perhaps. They knew it would come. Democrats they never anticipated how strong Joe Biden's death grip on power would be.